Hello and welcome to the Sacred Synthesis. My name is Cynthia Cramblett, and today's conversation is the Hero's Dose Conclave, and we are focusing on dreams from a Jungian perspective. And before we get into that topic specifically, I want to share with you all a bit of the wonderful things we have coming up this January, the start of 2026. So every week we have a beautiful conversation. They are titled conclaves, and they fall under the subjects of ceremony, medicine, hero's dose, and they are meant to be educational topics that are for you to use alongside your sacramental work with any of the sacraments you acquire as a member here at the Sacred Synthesis or other things that you do, so that you can have a well-rounded, holistic perspective to your self-exploration, your healing, and ultimately your connection with unity consciousness and coming into a higher level of existence and happiness and joy. Other things we have coming up, most importantly, is our January ceremony. We host one ceremony every year, or excuse me, every month. It's virtual. And this month we'll be focusing on working with the Jaguar Light Wand, which is low 5 MEO. It's a beautiful way to somatically release some tensions within the body. Our ceremonies are set up in a way that we do some breath work, Kundalini yoga, and some other activations before we even move into sacramental work, which is also optional. So if you all have the availability and the interest, we would love to have you join us on January 25th. And now, moving into what you all are here for, which is discussing dreams. I know we pretty much all have them, or even if someone's like, I don't dream, I'm pretty sure there's some dreaming that occurs. It just may not be remembering them. But I've always been so fascinated by dreams, and when the team was putting together our topics for this month, the concept of dreams came up, and we were all like, yes, absolutely. So this is the first of what is going to be the dream series over the next couple of months. And our first guest is Sara Saidy. She is a Jungian dream practitioner, writer, artist, and researcher in the field of transpersonal studies of dreams and dreaming. She has been studying Jungian and post-Jungian psychology for almost a decade. She has been a part of a dream tending group for many years and has studied Jungian dream interpretation at the Center for Applied Jungian Studies. She holds a bachelor's degree in theater performance and visual arts and a master's degree in consciousness, spirituality, and transpersonal psychology. Her master's thesis was on the transformative potential of group dreamwork, and she has been accepted as a candidate in training to become a Jungian analyst. Additionally, she lives in Florence, Italy, and works globally, offering online and in-person consultations and workshops for individuals and groups on dreams and dreaming from a psycho-spiritual perspective. The purpose of her work is to inspire people to engage with the imaginal realm and the numinous. So that is really impressive, really cool. You are clearly obsessed with dreaming, and I am so happy to have you, Sara. Welcome to this week's conclave.
Thank you for having me, Cynthia. It's an honor to be here.
Well, first and foremost, Sara, what drew you into studying dream work and studying Jungian psychology?
Um, well, my dream journey is a healing journey. I used to work in the beauty industry, had a very successful career, and until one morning I woke up with a pain in my neck, and that pain gradually spread to my entire body.
Mm,
And I tried everything, all sorts of, Western medicine, Eastern medicine, all sorts of remedies, and nothing worked. To the point that I could no longer work. I could no longer tolerate sitting down in a car or behind a desk or, on a chair. And I became really depressed.
mm,
It really affected my life in a really negative way. And I asked a friend to refer me to a therapist, and she referred me to a Jungian analyst. And I went to see her and I told her what was going on with me. And she said, something in the psyche is trying to get your attention. And the way to investigate it is through dreams.
Mm.
So I started working with her on my dreams, and she also recommended that I join a dream group, which I did. And together in the group, we worked on our dreams and the images that the psyche offers to us every night. And about 6 months or so later, I started to feel better and some relief from the pain. And that really was such a powerful experience for me that I decided to put my career behind and go back to school and study psychology, and became really fascinated with Jung's work because it was for the first time I was able to make sense of my inner world and my inner experiences. And so that's how I got into dreams and
Mm.
into Jungian psychology.
Mm, so interesting. And you have leanings into the spiritual realms as well. So I'm curious, did you have a connection or practice before this event that led you into switching career paths, or was that something that came over time?
No, I was always interested in spirituality, and I had studied Hinduism and Buddhism and traveled to India and had sort of studied several different spiritual paths, but nothing really stuck. Nothing really gave me the answers that I was looking for until
Mm-hmm.
I discovered Jungian psychology, which is very spiritually oriented. It's
Mm-hmm.
concerned with the soul and with our inner world, and with the bigger, connection to the cosmos and the source. So it was finally I had found my calling and
Mm.
the answers that I was looking for.
Yeah, how amazing. Well, I appreciate that information. So, can you provide us a bit more information on like dreams, right? We all have them. Some of us know a bit more about them than others, and but through the perspective that you have.
Sure. I mean, as you mentioned in your introduction, we all dream. It's a universal human experience. And when we don't remember our dreams, doesn't mean that we didn't dream. We dream every night, several times. So, dreams have played an important part in almost all the spiritual and wisdom traditions and religious traditions around the world. They've been considered revelations from the spiritual realm, messages from God, and a source of a spiritual guidance, and also psychological and physical healing. We inherently know that dreams are coming to us from a sacred place. When
Mm,
we encounter a dream, we know that we're in the presence of something numinous, something mysterious, something sacred. I work with dreams from the perspective of depth psychology and specifically through the Jungian lens. And for Carl Jung, who was the father of analytical psychology, the general function of dreams was to restore psychological balance.
mm,
And he believed that dreams were messages from the unconscious, and they're communicating through symbols to bring meaning to our lives and to foster our individuation, which is a tendency towards psychic wholeness. So Jung believed that dreams are messengers of our soul. I call them love letters from our soul. And if we work with them, they reveal the condition of our soul. And I want to take a moment to explain what I mean by soul. The challenge with soul is that it's eternal, it's deep, without end, and it's always in process of expansion. So it's difficult to pin down a fixed definition for it. We're made up of body, mind, and the spirit, and those are relatively easy to define. Soul is a little more difficult. It's similar to the word God. You know, it's pretty difficult to come up with a universal definition for God. And same thing is true of the soul. But our soul essentially is the mystery we glimpse into when we look deep inside ourselves. And Jung kind of looked at it from the perspective, the same perspective that the alchemists looked at it. They saw the soul as the link between body and the spirit. Soul was that part that mediates between the earthly material realm of the body and the divine eternal realm of the spirit. And for the alchemists, soul was the seat of imagination and feeling and transformation, the part of the human being that is capable of experiencing the inner mysteries of nature and of the cosmos.
Mm.
So, soul is that part of us that gives life meaning, connects us to love, and often touches the sacred. Is the part of us that imagines, dreams, reflects, and sees the world in symbols and metaphors. It's the part that makes experience out of events. It's the part that touches life, and it's touched by life. And it's important to make a distinction between the spirit and soul. Spirit is the source, is that which underlies everything. When we connect to the spirit through practices such as meditation, mindfulness, prayer, but we connect to the soul through dreams, through symbols, through art, music, poetry, life. And unfortunately, in our intellectual and technological advances, we've left behind the soul. We've moved upward and outward and have lost the depths, which is where soul resides. We've lost touch with the imaginal realm, the imagination. And I believe this is the root cause of a lot of what's wrong with the world. The way we treat our fellow human beings, the way that we treat the animals and the earth. And Freud believed that our imagination could make us ill. And Jung also discovered that about a third of his cases were not suffering from a clinically definable neurosis, but from the meaninglessness and emptiness of their lives. And this is where dreams come in. Dreams connect us to what is beneath the surface of our consciousness. We need our ego, the conscious part of our personality, to sort of make our way through life. But the ego needs to be connected to the soul. And dreams help the ego create a relationship with the soul. And through this constant attention to our dreams, a continuous dialogue starts to form, a dialogue between the conscious ego and the unconscious background of our psyche. And in this dialogue, like a mirror, constantly reveals the ego from the other side. So through dreams, we get to observe and learn about our own nature. And if we watch our dreams long enough, themes are repeated. And when we contemplate these themes and patterns, we begin to see some order in the chaos. We begin to see a movement toward a center, toward our higher self, a movement toward becoming whole. So for me, dream work is soul work. It's an encounter with the sacred in us. And dreams guide us to inner wholeness. Dreams ask us to stop trying to make sense and to enter the mystery that is within. So working with dreams is kind of like a meditation on the images of the psyche, the images that the
Mm.
psyche offers to us every night.
I see.
Um,
Are there common symbols or patterns that people see in their dream time? I mean, across the board, across all dreamers, that could be a similar definition, or is it all very specific to that individual and their subconscious and their spirit world?
No, there are certainly themes that are common, and dreams come from the collective unconscious, which is, where we all connect. So, depending on what is going on in the collective,
Mm-hmm.
our dreams reflect that. And so, a lot of times, for example, during COVID, a lot of people were having death dreams because that was what was very present and alive for everybody around the world. So there's certainly themes that are common and repeat throughout our lives, different individuals. There are also themes such as, a lot of people have dreams of falling or dreams of being chased or dreams of, technology not working, like your phone is not working, you're trying to, get help and your phone is not, things like that are, they're themes that certainly repeat and show up in our dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
And mm-hmm. Please go
uh,
ahead.
and I, the reason for that is that when a theme continues to reoccur in a dream, the psyche is trying to send a message, and it's going to continue sending that message until you get it.
Mm-hmm. I see. And then another question regarding dreams. I've started to kind of almost like categorize mine. And some that I feel, and speaking with you, I think this will make a bit of sense. Like some of them I feel like it's just me like processing things throughout the day or throughout the week. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see the interconnectedness of what I've been experiencing in my waking life. And then there's moments where I feel like I'm actually like traveling multidimensionally and I'm like on a mission, or other times I am sitting and being educated or being taught. And so I find it interesting to see what are the dreams that are going to come forward, um, as I go to sleep each night. And I'm wondering if that's something that you've experienced in your work with people have different, almost like themes to their dream world.
Yes, absolutely. And there are certainly many different ways to that dreams have been categorized from, creative dreams to precognitive dreams to,
Mm,
a lot of different types of dreams. And I'm not sure that at the end of the day it matters what category the dream belongs to, as long as you're engaging with it, as long as you're allowing the dream to work on you.
mm, hmm Amazing, magical. Thank you for that perspective. Yeah. So I know you kind of created an outline of some things that you wanted to share with us today. Is there anything we've not touched on? Because I didn't pinpoint absolutely everything that you have in your magic.
Sure. Well, I wanted to talk about, well, while we are on the subject of dreams themselves, um, I think that it's important to treat dream work like a spiritual practice. It
Mm,
is a spiritual practice. It requires effort and discipline, like all other spiritual practices. And the reward is that we get to establish a relationship with our soul and allow it to guide our life. And we get to know ourselves from the inside, which is why we are here in this
mm,
body on this beautiful planet.
mm. Yeah.
So
So
I
for those who are just now hearing about dream work, what are some ways in which someone who is new can start to explore their dreams or find someone to work with, maybe yourself, or a colleague that will help them develop this practice?
Sure. Well, I am a big fan of working on dreams in a group setting.
Mm,
There are so many advantages to working on dreams in a group setting because you have a group of people that are offering you different perspectives on your dream. and it can be very healing and very nourishing and very transformational. But you can also work with, individuals with Jungian analysts or dream practitioners that can guide you through that process. And, once you get a hang of it, it's really not that difficult. It's really about learning the metaphoric language of dreams, because dreams speak in metaphor and in symbols, and they're concerned with the soul. I think it's really important to remember that dreams are not commenting on your so much on your waking life. They can inform and guide your life, but they're not really revealing anything about your life that you don't already know. They're not concerned with ego issues, with your job or career or finances or your children. Those are not things. They're way deeper than that. They're coming from a sacred place deep inside us, and they honestly don't care about the ego
Mm.
matters. So I think as long as we remember that, and we remember that they're speaking in metaphoric language, we can sort of work our way through the dream and learn how to work with them.
I see. Beautiful. Yeah. And well, I found the mention that they're not concerned with like egoic matters, right? So how does that translate into your daily life when you're doing dream work and working on the spirit and like the soul connection?
For example, if you are dreams could be commenting on, and a lot of times do, if you really follow a series of dreams, you realize that they're commenting on they're guiding you towards becoming whole, towards becoming who you were meant to be, and towards your calling. So dreams are a great way, as an example, a great way to sort of figure out what is your purpose. Why are you here on this earth? What are you meant to do? How are you supposed to help people? How are you supposed, so if, for example, you're looking for whether you are in the right career or job, or you're following the path that you're supposed to be following, dreams are a great way to guide and direct you to
Mm.
to your calling, your purpose.
Which I think is the deepest question for all of us until we find that. And, and then we know, like, well, this is my purpose.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
they reveal our life's myth. What is the myth that we're living? What is the story that we're living?
Yeah.
Again, why are we here?
hmm Yeah, that's absolutely. Um, I feel that very deeply.
I'm
Mm,
sure you do, yes, and with the work that you do, it's pretty obvious.
yeah, well, thank you. Well, yeah, just kind of leaning back into to you and anything that you care to bring forward in regards to dreams or any emerging research that you may be familiar with in the dream world, we would love to share that with everybody.
Sure. Well, I wanted to talk about a little bit about dreaming itself, which is, as I said earlier, is a universal human condition and a phenomenon. And some of the wisdom traditions and also modern day dream workers and scholars believe that we shouldn't be so much concerned with the meaning of the dream, and instead we should study and engage with dreaming. And there are practices such as the Tibetan dream yoga
Mm,
and modern day lucid dreaming techniques and many other techniques that engage with the dreaming process and not so much with the dream itself. And there are different reasons and benefits to this. For example, lucid dreaming can facilitate healing, both psychological and physical. I personally have been able to reduce the frequency and intensity of my migraine headaches using lucid dreaming. And then the Tibetan dream yoga is a practice that can help us exercise awareness and meditation in the dream state. It's essentially a practice of conscious dreaming or becoming awake and aware in the dream, which then leads to a greater awareness in our waking life. And according to Tibetan Buddhism, dream yoga can also help us maintain high levels of consciousness during death. So, in a way, it can prepare us for death. And every night when we go to sleep, it's sort of a mini death, right?
Mm-hmm.
We leave this world and this consciousness, and we enter a different type of consciousness. And so, by becoming awake and aware in the dream and avoiding losing ourselves in the dream every night, we have the chance to practice the same thing when we're dying and
Mm-hmm.
carry our consciousness into the next state and even the
Mm-hmm.
next lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is a connection here with the work that you guys are doing and the 5-MeO DMT, because that, in a way, is a practice of death, right? It's a practice of reaching a non-dual state of awareness, a oneness with the source. And I think that these practices help us realize that life is a dream and an illusion. As Schopenhauer said, the universe is a dream created by a single dreamer where all the dream characters dream too. So, and with regards to the 5-MeO, I'm very interested to see the emerging research into mental health, and I think that it's going to revolutionize psychology in a lot of ways. But I'm also really interested to see how it could inform and influence our dreams. We know that under the influence of some of the other psychedelics and infusions, such as ayahuasca, people see a lot of imagery, but that is not necessarily the case with the 5-MeO DMT. And as more research gets done, I'm really interested and excited to see how it changes our dreams and our dreaming state.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. It's interesting to hear you bring the correlation of dreams and 5-MeO. And what I've seen in my own personal work and that with many of the people that have come into the church and their individual work and ceremonial is there seems to be a greater sense of awareness of like this now moment and like the generation of their reality. And that's kind of been my greatest teaching is I might be dreaming here, in this conversation. And as you mentioned, like Schopenhauer, like, however, I am consciously aware, I'm lucidly creating where I turn my attention next. And I think 5-MeO is really great at like unlocking all of the different lenses we've placed on ourselves and like fractures them away and can help disconnect us from that so we can be really present within our state, which is what sounds like Tibetan Dream Yoga is helping us do as well.
Yes, yes, and I find that so exciting because lucid dreaming and Tibetan dream yoga are great, great practices, but they're extremely difficult to achieve. It
Mm,
takes a lot of work and dedication. So if this could be sort of a shortcut to achieve the same results, why not?
hmm.
Why not
Yeah,
a medicine that can help us achieve that?
yeah, I appreciate that perspective. I know there's some, I've done a lot of the hard work before I ever came into psychedelic sacramental work. on my own, like meditation, yogas, all these different beautiful practices that showed me that I can get to some of these states on my own and come into like a state of like high on happiness, super present, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I've also been so lucky in my life to have a good amount of time to devote to those practices, whereas most people are really, hanging on by a thread in many cases, or really just really super cramped with their time. So as I started to work with psychedelics, I have found, as you said, they are can be beautiful when, put it this way, when treated, I think, with reverence and intention and with some guidance around how to work with them, what are the energetics, what's occurring within the psyche and the energetic body, etc. People can radically transform. And that's why we love working with like the low five here. It's people are still in a state of awareness when working with the low five. However, it is like they're present in what's happening in their experience. So they're not completely going when you go at higher doses, have a full release. That experience could be a little bit different, where you cause a full reset in your system, which is equally potent and powerful. But many don't recall what happened in that experience. But when working with the low, it allows people to be aware of what is transforming within their being in that moment and kind of detach from the stories that they have been living for so long. So I'm really grateful to have now been able to see the benefit of the hard work and now being able to aid others in having, as you said, the shortcut, and which allows for rapid healing, rapid transformation. They can change their lives more quickly and come into that greater sense of wholeness and continue to expand their into their soul and their soul's purpose while they're here.
Yes, and I appreciate that point that I think it's important that we still have to do the work.
Hmm.
It's a shortcut, but it's not like you do it and then you're there and you're healed and you're blessed and transformed. You still have
Hmm.
to integrate the work and do the work. To get the results, I mean, you know better than I do, but
Yeah. Yeah, it is so true, and I appreciate your perspective as being a professional in this space of psychology and healing. Um, and what other perspectives do you have in regards to any of the topics that we've leaned into, or anything we haven't touched on just yet?
um, I don't know. I mean, I did touch on this, but it's something that I'm really passionate about. So I continue to emphasize really the importance of engaging with the imaginal realm, and not losing connection with our soul, because that's really when our life becomes rich and meaningful. And then when we are living a meaningful life, then we can be a better human being. We can help each other. We can help our world. We can, tend to the world soul. And and I think that's a beautiful thing. And I really, again, I'm really passionate about doing
Hmm.
that. And there are many ways to engage the imaginal realm. Dreams are obviously a great way to do that, but you can do it also with art, with music, with poetry. There are many different ways to do it with all sorts of creative endeavors and
Mm.
activities. I often tell dreamers to, after you work on a dream, then you have to integrate it, like what the work that you do with the 5-MeO, you have to integrate it afterwards. Otherwise, the insights are lost. And for dream work, integrating means that the ego accepts the message of the dream and sort of brings it into this waking three-dimensional world and acts on it. And there are a lot of ways to do that. You know, you can do a creative expression of your dream. You can write a poem. You can draw or paint. You can dance. Dancing is an incredible way to integrate the messages of the dream because it works with the body. It sort of integrates it into the body. So I think integration is extremely important when it
Mm,
comes to dreams and dream work, and it's so simple, and it doesn't, you know, it's not a time consuming process. It's, you know, I have a dream, I write it down, I, you know, take maybe 10-15 minutes to work on it, and then I go back to it maybe 2 days later, do a little more work. And, you know, and dreams are bottomless. You'll never
mm,
get to the bottom of the dream. You can continue. I have dreams that I've been working on for 5-10 years.
mm.
So the work is never done, and that's the beauty of dream work. And depending on where you are in your life, the message of the dream might change, of the same dream that you had 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And you continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's such a beautiful and enriching and transformational process that I cannot think of any other process that is so enriching and so transformational as
Mm.
far as inner work goes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love that you brought in the imaginal world, right? I don't think many people understand what that means or how to bring it forward. So you did a great job of outlining it for everybody. And to me, when I think about imaginal, I think about this like this tickled person, this tickled inside of me that wants to come out and be expressed and wants to play um, in creation before it comes into the third dimension of matter, right? And be formed. Like, what do I want to like dance in? And like, can I be in this tickled mode of sensation and then pull it in and use body in some way to create it? So thank you very much for bringing that perspective.
Thank
Yeah.
you for
Hmm.
bringing in examples from your own experiences. I think that's really beautiful.
Absolutely. Well, Sarah, I feel really great about this conversation. Again, I don't want to leave or say goodbye until you feel like you have expressed everything that feels super nutritious at this point in time. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody?
Um, no, I feel pretty complete.
Amazing.
And I appreciate you creating this space for dreams and bringing that into your universe and the great work that you're doing. And I think that there's definitely a place where dreams and the medicines that you're working with can intersect and do
Hmm.
intersect. And I think it's a beautiful space to explore.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for seeing us, and thank you for your willingness to come on and share our one of our intentions with this community is not just to teach about sacrament and how to work with it and connect with source through sacrament, but also to help others really come into a sense of unity with themselves so that they can be in unity with, you know, the collective through all aspects, like looking at the being as this whole, whole thing, which you need to do from many angles. And I just thought dreams were so important. So definitely an honor to have you. Sarah. And just before we go, is there a website or a place where everyone can find you and your work in case they want to connect further?
Yes, just sarasaidy.com, my website, and there's information there to if someone likes to connect, or there's also information about my offerings and particularly dream groups if
Mm,
anyone is interested.
amazing. All right. Well, everybody, we'll put Sarah's website in the video description. Please tune in with her and her work as you feel called. And as always, we invite you to please give these conclaves a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more of what we are producing for the community at large. We love you and hope you all have found some great nourishment today. And again, thank you, Sara, for tuning in and being a special guest on this conclave.
Thank you.